We're back with Hamilton Mayor Andrea Horvath. She has spent her adult life dedicated to serving as a city councillor, an MPP, the leader of the official opposition and provincial New Democrat Party, and now as mayor of the city of Hamilton, spearheading an urban renewal not seen in generations. Mayor Horvath, I love the fact that when I go to downtown Hamilton now, I see cranes in the sky. There's all sorts of activity. One of my favorite buildings is that one on King and Bay, which is the new McMaster residence. And it looks gorgeous architecturally, but I know you're doing so much more than that. You're also working on affordable housing. There's a big project on 70 Hope Avenue. Tell us a little bit about your vision and what's going on.
Well, I mean, you've pretty much explained it in a nutshell. The downtown needs to be a place for everyone, and so not only as we were speaking about the entertainment factor and bringing people down to the business districts, and we have an amazing restaurant scene, culinary scene happening in our city that's just fantastic, which is really great in our downtown. But as we build these buildings, and as you've identified, there are cranes in the sky, and even though 2024 things slowed down a little bit, I'm happy to share that we are still, myself as the mayor, I'm still meeting very, very regularly with folks who are looking to invest and to build more buildings in our city. So the density is important to support our businesses, absolutely. The architecture is important. How we build out the spaces in our downtown that are available, particularly surface parking lots, which when I was a counselor, I used to walk to City Hall from my home and I would walk past these surface parking lots and say to myself, there needs to be buildings on these buildings. There's unutilized infrastructure under the ground that can be servicing more people. And so that's what we're doing now, which is, 20 years later, but it's fantastic. But that means that as we utilize that surface parking, we build those buildings and we're not putting the same ratio of parking spots as used to be required because we want to make sure our LRT is a successful addition,
Right.
and it's the right thing to do, both in terms of city building, but also in terms of mass transit and moving people, as opposed to single vehicle occupancy. But when we think about what do we have to have in a downtown that makes it, we have to have spaces that make it a neighborhood. So animating those spaces, making sure that at street level they're pedestrian oriented. We've had a couple of folks doing some great, couple of companies doing some great kind of investments and buildings that are very much in line with the urban fabric. In fact, you would think perhaps they were historic buildings. They're so beautiful. So more of that is happening as well. It's an exciting time. I really believe that Hamilton is like really on the precipice of its next iteration, and I'm very excited about that.
I am too. As a longtime Hamilton resident, I really am impressed with what I'm seeing. Now, Andrea, if you can share with us, Hamilton has always been known for steel, but we're not reliant on the steel industry as much anymore. But it's being under attack right now with the new tariff talks and the threats from the United States. I know you've just come back from Washington, D.C., and you've met with mayors and you've met with congressmen, you've met with senators. Tell us about what you found down there and what some of the discussions were. How were you received?
So thank you for acknowledging that effort that we made last week in Washington. I can say first and foremost that you're correct. Hamilton is a steel city. I was called the Steel Town Scrapper when I was at Queens Park. Um, and look at here we are now. I'm the mayor of the city, and I'm needing to be the steel town scrapper right here at home. And I'm happy to do that work. It's so important. Our economy has diversified. Thank you for acknowledging that. We might talk about that a little later on. But certainly, Conference Board of Canada identified our city as 96% diversified, which is pretty great. But we not only do we have primary steel making, which we've had for a very long time, as you know, but we also have a lot of fabrication, a lot of secondary work being done. We also have innovation, significant innovation in that space. And so the steel industry remains really important for Hamiltonians. Some 28,000 jobs in manufacturing and steel continue to be here in Hamilton. And that's just for the Hamiltonians. And when you think about all the people that come into Hamilton to work in manufacturing, it's up to 42,000 or more. So going to Washington, talking about the impacts of tariffs on us, but also on those 8 states that surround the Great Lakes, which are $6 trillion economy. $6
Trillion.
trillion. That's the economy along the Great Lakes, and we need to make sure we keep it healthy.
That's extraordinary. Let's pick it up on that note when we come back from break.